Welcome to Voices in the Dark, where darkness comes to life and the whispers in the night tell stories no one else dares to share. Here you'll find chilling tales, cursed legends, and paranormal cases that defy reality. From encounters with the unknown to unsolved mysteries, each story will push you to the edge of fear. If you think you're safe in the comfort of your room, think again. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and dare to listen. But be careful, some stories aren't just tales. Some follow you. Are you ready to step into the darkness? Subscribe and find out. The Forgotten Reflection. Prologue. The Moran family never imagined that moving into the old house on the hill would bring a curse. From the moment they arrived, the mirrors began acting strangely, shadows appearing in reflections, inaudible whispers, and the unmistakable feeling of being watched. But it was Valeria, the youngest daughter, who discovered the true horror hidden within the glass. Chapter 1. The New House. The Morans' new home was a massive stone structure with tall, narrow windows. It had been abandoned for over 30 years. "It's perfect," said Mariana, the mother, excitedly. "I don't know. It's too old," murmured Daniel, her husband. 12-year-old Valeria ran up the stairs to choose her bedroom. At the end of the hall, she found one with a large mirror embedded in the wall. When she approached, she noticed something odd. Her reflection lagged slightly behind her movements. "It's just old," she thought, though a strange discomfort settled in her chest. Chapter 2. The Reflection That Wasn't Hers. In the following nights, the house creaked under the wind, but the worst part was the mirror. Every time Valeria passed by it, she felt her reflection watching her a little too intently. She ignored it at first, thinking it was just her imagination. Then one night, while brushing her teeth, she noticed something terrifying. Her reflection didn't blink. She did, but the image in the mirror remained still, eyes wide open. She dropped her toothbrush and stumbled backward. Her reflection slowly smiled, though she wasn't smiling at all. "Mom," she whispered, her voice trembling. When Mariana entered the room, the reflection looked normal again. "What is it, sweetie?" "Nothing." Valeria glanced at the mirror, fear creeping up her spine. Something was very wrong. Chapter 3. The Shadow in the Glass. Days passed and things got worse. Valeria started hearing whispers whenever she was alone in the room. Nights were the worst. Her reflection no longer moved exactly like her. Sometimes it remained standing when she was already in bed. One evening, Valeria tried to ignore it, closing her eyes to sleep. But when she opened them again, her reflection was staring at her, eyes pitch black, a twisted grin on its face. Fear paralyzed her. She couldn't move. "Let me out." A whisper seeped into her ear. Valeria screamed and her parents rushed in. The reflection returned to normal. "It was just a dream," her father assured her. But Valeria knew the truth. Someone else was in that mirror. Chapter 4. The House's Dark Past. The next morning, Valeria decided to investigate. She went down to the basement where boxes from the previous owners were stored. Among the dusty papers, she found an old leather-bound journal. It belonged to a girl named Elisa Montiel. Inside, she read a chilling story. "Mom doesn't believe me. I tell her my reflection talks to me, that it moves when I don't. It's not me. Last night it tried to pull me into the mirror." Elisa Montiel had disappeared mysteriously in the same bedroom. The last entry made Valeria's blood run cold. "If someone reads this, please don't touch the mirror." Chapter 5. The Nightmare Becomes Real. That night, Valeria felt something watching her. She forced herself not to look at the mirror, but the room turned ice cold. Then a loud thud came from the glass. Trembling, she turned and saw her reflection, but now it had the face of another girl. "Let me out, please," the girl in the mirror whispered. Valeria screamed, but before she could react, the reflection reached out. A dark shadow seeped from the glass. Cold hands wrapped around her arms, pulling her toward the mirror. She struggled, but the force was too strong. Her body was being absorbed. With one final gasp, everything went dark. And when she opened her eyes, she was inside the mirror. She turned in horror as her reflection, or whatever had taken her place, smiled and walked away. Valeria banged on the glass desperately. "Mom! Dad! That's not me!" But they couldn't hear her. Outside, her reflection, the imposter, gave one last wicked smile before turning off the bedroom light. Epilogue. The new daughter. The Morans noticed something was off. "Are you feeling okay, sweetie?" her mother asked. The girl smiled too wide. "Yes, Mom. Everything's perfect now." That night, as the family slept, the mirrors in the house started whispering again. Valeria was trapped, and the reflection was no longer a reflection. And so, another story comes to an end. Or at least, that's what we like to believe. But remember, fear doesn't always fade when the video stops. Sometimes it stays with you. If you dare to hear more chilling tales, subscribe and join this community of brave souls seeking the truth in the darkness. See you in the next story, if you manage to sleep tonight. Until next time, if you survive.